hello, and welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast for all that crap we love to talk about on ye old brovs. I'm Ronnie, and that's Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ronnie. How are you? How's it going today?
Good. Good to see you over there. Wow, long time.
You know what? It's good to see you too.
Familiarity supposedly breeds contempt, but I don't contempt you.
No,
What do you think about that?
No, I feel the same way. I think familiarity breeds content, and content.
Familiarity breeds bonaire. Just kidding. I shouldn't talk about boners because we are on the first episode for the main feed this season of Below Deck Sailing. If you guys have missed these, go over to Patreon. That's where they are, the first two. If you haven't, hey, what the hell are you doing here? Go somewhere else. Mother effer. Just kidding. Thanks for being here, everybody. Good to see you. It's Below Deck. Crappy hours every other Monday. Did that last night. Super fun show. Also, we have all the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives out now on the feed. And this week, we're going to do some fun updates on our lives on Patreon. So go check that out. It's also where you go if you want videos of us doing these recaps and see our gorgeous closed pose faces, which we're going to be doing every day on Patreon. So go see those if you want those. Okay, But today, let's get into Below Deck Sailing. Right now, if you're about Below Deck Sailing, then you feel I've betrayed you anyway.
It's another episode of Below Deck, another day where I say, why can't you just do your job? Just do your job. Just get it right. Like, close the doors when the boat's tilting, stay in the kitchen when you're the chef. Just do the simple things and everything will be okay, right? What did you think?
I love it. I love Below Deck. So here we are. I love watching people work because I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? It's like when there's people working in the neighborhood, you could just look out the window and be like, I'm not outside today. God damn it, it's a good day. Sometimes I need to be reminded to be a positive person, and seeing other people do things really does it for me. It reminds me to just be thankful for sitting down.
Yeah. That's a really great perspective.
Isn't it? Aren't I a positive person? What do you think about that?
I think great things about that. I felt like this episode, what really cracked me up is how this episode just starts off with Daisy like mid-rant. It's like, oh yeah, we're back with Sailing Yacht, because it's like Daisy being like, you're not in my corner. I'm like, whoa, we are back. We are back. By the way, she's saying this to Gary. They're like drinking, in between charters. And, she's like, you're not in my corner. By the way, I think not having Gary in the corner with you is probably a good thing.
Really? He's currently being sued for dragging people into his corner. So
yeah, I think if you find yourself in a corner with Gary, you have to start working
Get out of the corner.
Get out. Get out.
Look for the rectangle and push hard, because it's probably a door. Okay?
Kick in the knees, please.
Yeah.
In between the knees or the knees.
A long time ago, I remember saying, like years ago, that these two are good. I can just see their future. Daisy just chain smoking and probably 47 with some really dirty children who just wear diapers. Those kids who don't have clothes, they just wear diapers.
Yeah.
Just running around, like past due. I mean, I know babies wear diapers, but like past their age, like 5, just running around, filthy, chain smoking, just going out to the stair rail, the fire escape railing in her like tenement apartment, and just like throwing open the window and just climbing out there and screaming, Gary, where the fuck have you been? You're not in my corner. How dare you? I'm never going to forget. And he's just drunk, chain smoking on the street with the other kind of older guys now. He's just, hey, she's again. You're kidding on me. Get off my ass, you goddamn wench. Eric, get over here. It's like the saddest prediction of the future. I've seen it ever since these two started. And I mean, God bless them, and God bless their neighbors who have to hear this shit for the rest of their godforsaken lives. Because it's just going to be noisy living next to them and their non-behaving children.
Oh yeah, I think that's a very salient point, and it is a very. I think that is a very accurate view of the future for the two of them.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
So she's doing like, you're not in my corner. He's like, but I want to be in your corner. Let's get to the corner, shall we? I didn't know I was led back in your corner. Left corners.
Show me if you're in my corner. Show me if you're in my corner. And I will always help out your department. I will always be there for you, Gary. But face it, Gary, you're not in my corner.
Well, I don't want to fight with you. I've learned a long time ago that fighting with you is the worst outcome to happen. That was never my intention to fight with you. It was my intention to screw you over and then have you constantly forgive me and just smile and pretend it didn't happen, like most people did when I was hotter and younger.
It might not have been your intention, but that was the reality. And he's like, well, I'm sorry that it had been like that. Being your friend and being by your side and standing by your side and maybe trying to grab your baby. Well, no, although I haven't always, been side by side with you, that's what I want. She's like,
I'm looking after the girls, Gary, and that's my main priority. And if you want to come along the train, I'll carry you. I will. I'll carry you on the train, Gary. I'll carry you on the goddamn train. Corner, not inner.
Well, I'll be on the train. Is this a sexual train of some sort, or is it just some sort of functional train? Either way, I will be on it. But let's work on the train to keep going on the train tracks and not derail it. Blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. I don't want to derail the train, Gary. Do not derail the train, Gary.
Oh, fuck off. Stop putting words in my mouth. Blah, blah, blah. Give us a kiss. Blah, 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 blah.
And she just, it's so funny because this conversation, like, okay, I'm sorry. Then she's like, oh, corner. He's like, okay, I'm sorry. No, I'm not going to forgive you. Corner, Gary, corner. No, I forgive you. Let's flirt with each other and push each other flirtingly.
This is what Gary does. In the moment, he's a total dick. And then he goes into remorseful guilt, half-ass apology. So I forgive him, move on, and we're just in this vicious cycle where we're never moving forward. And I think Gary needs to earn my trust because I don't want to be the fool who forgives another fool knowing he's going to hurt me again. But I guess that is actually specifically exactly what I am. Oh, well, that's why we pay therapy to break the cycles. And guess what? I'm not in therapy.
Yeah, apparently not. Speaking of therapy, let's go to the girl who's terrified of doing laundry. Danny. So Danny is watching with Keith, and she's still doing that thing where she's flirting really heavily with Keith. She did the same thing. You might remember, for those of you who've missed the past couple of episodes, she was doing it with the fence post last week. There was a male horse actually that passed by that she gave a little flirt to. Yeah, a coffee cup. The coffee cup. It got pretty hot. So she's like, so what if that's also 7 years? And he's like, well, that's a bit of a goal, but all right. And she goes, bro, I'm fucking pushing your buttons. Oh my God, what a flirt I am. And then the waiter comes over, and Cloyce whose name I still can't get used to. Just feel like the cloying Joyce, Yeah. The waiter comes over and he's like, Marcello, is it possible to put the first 2 bottles of wine on one and then put the rest on another one? I was like, oh, is he going to get the bottles of wine? That's so sweet. No. He's trying to get his ass out of putting in for those bottles of wine. And I understand it in the sense that he's 22 and he doesn't understand that this is the way, the vibe of this crew and everything. And when you're 22, you're just trying to save every dollar you got, So Daisy's like, no, well, Cloyce, what we did last season is we all took a turn paying the bill. It works kind of nicely. So for this one looks like it'll be our most expensive one of the season. So you handle it, Cloyce. And I was like, I'm okay with that. I just really enjoy having any bills at all, because that means you've made it, really, doesn't it? I remember being a child and not having any bills, How did the water run? How did the electricity run? No one told me. I didn't know. But now I've got them. Here we are. Bills. And Cloyce is like, well, that blows for me, because I'm not drinking 10 drinks like the rest of you. Well, and he's like, it's fine. And Diana was like, what is happening? And Davide is like, if you pay now, I'll pay the next one. At the big party, I'll get married to a man and I will pay the bill for everybody. And he's all upset. And this is like that Friends episode where the 2 poor ones, Phoebe and I guess Joey, or there was 3 poor ones who couldn't. Everybody else with jobs goes out to dinner and pays these, orders bottles of wine. We've all been there, Yep. But you just made $1,400. Daisy's like, you made $1,400 today. This is how we do things, get in my corner. Do you want to get in my corner or do you not want to get in my corner? Cloyce, do you want to not be in my corner?
he's like, that's whack, but okay. And Gary's like, well, at the end of the day, the chef is one of the highest paid people on the boat, blah, and we're all drinking, blah, blah, and we're all having shots, blah, blah, blah. So, Clovis, come on, buddy.
Yeah, and he's like, he's 22, he doesn't understand your works. And he's like, yeah, well, what a fucker. You know, I work hard for my money. So no offense, but I don't want to buy everybody 5 drinks every time we go out.
I feel like this is kind of hilarious from a chef who should like truly understand the value of breaking bread with friends, right? Isn't that kind of your job?
But not the alcohol bill. See, that's where it gets tricky because, you know, I think most cities are like this. I was going to say, well, in LA, but it's also like this in Austin. I mean, drinks are 15 to 25 to 40. I mean, they're expensive to get a drink. And so when you're out with a bunch of drunks like this fucking cast, you end up paying all this money and you don't drink. You know, you could have a salad. Like, what if they're with me and I'm on Ozempic and I have 2 French fries, and then they're like, okay, your bill is $900.
If you're like if you're eating like nothing, Ronnie, if you're on Ozempic, I think as the group we'd be like, no. Or maybe it'd be like, we'll all put in for tip. But like, he's participating too. And what Clovis doesn't realize is that this just gives him license to order the most expensive shit on the menu. You can get an appetizer and an entree going forward because that will compensate for the booze.
That's true. Get a dessert, you know, like loosen up.
Use the system.
Or you have to say right in the beginning, like, listen, everybody, I'm not eating or drinking today and I'm not paying your bill. So don't look at me to pay it. Listen, I'm paying a lot of money to not eat. I'm not going to pay for you to eat. That's what I tell my friends. And they're like, okay, Ronnie, you know, and then I just sit there and look at them like I'm so much better than them because I'm not eating.
Yeah. That's how it works in LA. So Davide is like, you know, when you get the bill, Italians, there's always someone who's upset. And the producer's like, well, what do you say to those people? Fuck off, but in Italian. Fuck off.
Also, would you like to get married? Because I will get married. I'm a wacky person.
When the bill arrives, it goes, it's me, the bill. So
Clinton's like, I have bills to pay. I have rent. I'm literally the one putting down payment for my house that my family's going to move into. Oh, God, for Christ's sake, don't move in with your parents too, Clovis. Come on. You're 22.
You're 22. Why are you buying a house at 22? Stop it.
Yeah, especially for your parents, you know? Don't buy your parents a house until you're old enough that they'll die soon and you can recoup all that money. So also, make sure that shit's in your name.
And also, you're only going to pay for one meal. So the extra like $200 or $300 is not going to be the difference between you being able to make that down payment or not. Like, it's like, well, Clovis, unfortunately, we had to deny your house because you came up $200 short. Like, it'll probably work out.
Yeah. And so Danny's like, oh my God, are they still talking about that shit? Oh, I can't. Aren't there any men to talk about? Any men to give me attention? God, I wish I was a Bill right now. That Bill's getting more attention than I've ever gotten from any man on this boat.
I'll tell you one thing about that Bill. It never lost weight in college and had 10,000 men staring at it in a stadium.
I still think of that every time. For her to open the season with that story of just being like, well, I was chubby, but then finally I lost weight and went to the gym and became a cheerleader. That's how to do it, girls. It's like, oh, God, that's like the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. Validation somewhere else. I just need you to work at like the desk of a restaurant so you could just give validation all day. Please just do something involving validation that doesn't require anything from men.
So now everyone goes back to the boat, and the vibe is sort of going downhill a little bit because Clovis is complaining, and Glenn is in bed, just he's on his iPad, and he's like watching this. This the usual thing where they kind of troll Glenn, where I'm not even convinced the audio that they play is really coming from his iPad, but it's like, in Greek mythology, Neptune or Poseidon was known to sink many a sailor's ship. And he's like, woo!
It's like, nailed it. So then Danny's like, yeah, Ibiza's supposed to be party central, but the vibe is deteriorating rapidly. Where's the party? And meanwhile, Clovis is still moping around about having to pay some of that bill.
Yeah.
So sad.
He decides he's going to go to the galley to make food because that's what he does when he's angry. To which I'd be like, I'm going to make him angry all the time if it means I get late night snacks, you know?
Yeah, and also look how willing he is to spend other people's money. You didn't buy that food.
Yeah.
You're just cooking to blow off some steam, sir. You're fine with wasting other people's money. What if Captain Glenn wanted to buy a house for his mother?
So Chloe says, he's like, this situation sucks. It reminds me of high school. I got straight A's in school, and I only had a few close friends, and I had multiple people that just didn't enjoy me. There was some kid that came up to me I had never met before, and he said, you're an asshole. I don't have any problem speaking up for myself, but at the same time, I myself can be quite sensitive.
Yeah, no
I feel like a
shit.
bit of an outsider.
Huge shocker with this one. Cloyce was a dork in school. Didn't call that one. Didn't see that one coming at all.
Really? Not from when he did a magic trick last week? I kind of feel bad for him. Like, I feel like I can see exactly what he was like in high school. I think he is socially awkward. I'm not sure if he picks up on all the social vibes that happen in a group setting. And you can see how he just kind of like misses it. And I think it's like incredibly endearing. I'm sure he's gonna have like a turn where I'll be like, no, he's the worst. But for right now, I don't know. I really love this guy.
I love him too, and it kind of, well, I don't love him, but I like him okay. It makes me wonder though how he's so young and I'm so old, but we were in high school together, because I'm pretty sure that was me that he's talking about. I do have that memory.
You walking up with your trapper keeper, your hands around your trapper keeper, be like, you're an asshole, Cloyce. And did you like put your hand in the air and then do a swivel and walk away? Come on, girls.
No, but I can tell you I was carrying my books like a girl, because that's how I carried the books. You know how boys carry their books like on their sidearm, and then girls carry them held in the front, like cradled like a baby to their chest?
Yeah.
That's how I held my books, because I hung out with all girls, and they were like, this is how you hold books. And I was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, you've said that before, and I always think about that with you in high school. I always imagine you walking with your trapper keeper up against your chest. And so the idea of you walking up to Cloyce and being like, you're an asshole.
You're an asshole. Yeah. And then I wondered why I got pushed into lockers. Like, there are things when I got older that I'm like, I was so bullied when I was a kid, and I was. But then I was like, but was it deserved? Sometimes I'm like, I think I deserved it. That's a terrible way to think. I'm not suggesting that anybody start thinking like that, but sometimes I think that now. I'm like, I think I earned it. I think I earned that push into the locker. But anyway, you're an asshole.
I'm just sad that you were not in high school when Scrubs from TLC was on the radio, because I feel like you would have been amazing. I feel like you would have had those books in front of your bag. You would have walked down the hallway being like, I don't want no Scrubs. Scrubs, the guy that can't get no love from me.
No, I was walking down the hallway going, greens, and nothing but greens, parsley, peppers, cabbage and celery, asparagus and watercress and fiddle ferns and lettuce. Saying Into the Woods lyrics.
Works too.
I was a pretty gay kid. So let's see. Also, I wanted to tell you, I was telling you yesterday how I was buying a table in the Marshalls. I was also carrying the table like that. I noticed it when I was standing in line. I was like, I'm even doing this like girls carry books. Come on, bro.
How do you hold a table like that? I can understand a trapper keeper.
It was just bigger. I was like this, like cradling it in front of me, like holding it.
And you walk up to someone and go, you're an asshole.
No, but I should have. If anywhere that you're going to find somebody to say that to, it's a Marshalls.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what? I'm never buying chairs from any of these places, because everyone's gross, sweaty husband is just splayed all over it for 2 hours, farting all over it and checking their emails while their partners shop. It's so disgusting. Like, who wants to buy that chair? Ugh.
Yeah.
I want to sit on your husband's butt.
No.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
Okay, so Cloyce, Cloyce is bullied. Shocker. So then Danny's like, oh my God, she's talking to Diana, and she's like, he's just fucking boring because he won't flip back. I mean, but Anthony, remember Anthony, the guy I met at that club, and he just bit it, man. He just bit it. Yeah, and you dropped him. So
yeah, what happened to that child?
Yeah.
Diana's like, that's what I'm saying. And Danny's like, I love how I'm treating this boat like it's not even this place. That's that I work. It's like, woo! And Diana's like, yeah, me neither. I'm just working. I think that you can see Diana.
Diana didn't get it at all.
She's like, what is going on with this girl?
So Diana's like, who do I fancy? Oh, let me tell you something. Nobody, and this is not just like, oh, I'm going to tell a girl this. I'm telling everybody this. Nobody wants you if you're like flirting with them and then they turn around and you're immediately hitting on someone else that you're about to go bang. No, that doesn't make people feel special, you know? I mean, some people
Also,
don't care because it's like, let's just bang everybody, you know? But I think someone like Keith seems like just like a nice guy. He's just like, I want a wife, you know? He comes across that way. And I just don't think, I don't know. I get my feelings hurt when I'm dating somebody and then suddenly they're like all over people at a bar. Who does that? It's so fucking rude. And I know that we're not, maybe it's to make me like seal the deal or be like, you want to be boyfriend? No, I'm not going to do that. Why would I be boyfriends with you? You know, I kind of want to feel special. I know I'm a big, bald, hairy guy, but still, even we deserve to feel special sometimes.
I have to say, Danny saying like, who do I fancy? Oh my goodness, this girl is really kind of grating on me because I don't think in the history of that question has it ever led to an interesting conversation for the other person. At that point, you're just sitting there listening to someone, you know, go on and on about the guys. Like, maybe I like this guy because of this, or maybe him, you know, he's got dreamy eyes. Oh my God, we also have really good banter. It's like, you just want me to sit there and flatter you and talk about why you're so great and why you should go after this guy. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from Danny, and I don't want to hear it from anyone else.
Yeah. Who do I fancy? Cat, I would imagine, because I imagine that's your real life. I think you're talking a big game. Okay. Yeah. I imagine your real nights are spent, you know, dishing out cat fancy on tiny little plates and, you know, humming Nina Simone.
Sounds great.
Cat. Which actually does sound great. And if you were just honest about it, we could be best friends. But yes, this is not the way to go, ma'am. So then Gary is checking in with Chloe. So, you're in the corner. Yeah, you're in the corner. And he's like, oh, God, how's it going? So he's all bummed. And Gary's like, I want oysters. You know, I want some of that. I love an oyster. And Chloe is like, yeah, that's an aphrodisiac. And he's like, oh, this is romantic, I might say.
He's like, he goes, I've never done this with a dude before. You know that like oysters is not the same as having sex, right? Like it's it's not really broken down by like gender. Like you can have oysters with different types of people.
Oh, I just love the guy before. I just haven't had oysters with the guy. I'm sorry. Did you misunderstand me?
He was like, no, me neither. I just showed it with friends. We should have a glass of wine here before. Also, I'm like, are you allowed to go into the oysters? It's one thing if you go into the mac and cheese, but the oysters feel like they're kind of more premium. But I guess maybe they're just so perishable that they just have to be perished by our staff.
Yeah, I don't know. They're boogers. They're the boogers of the sea. I don't care what anybody
Delicious.
Says.
I love
it. So, you know, they're kind of bonding, and Gary gets Cloyce to chill out a little bit, and it's kind of sweet, I guess.
It is. It's like
he sees that a boy is sad, and you know, Gary will always be there for the boys because Gary needs them. You know, he needs them he needs their houses to stay in when Daisy kicks him out. No.
Yeah, this is sort of like camp counselor energy going on here with Gary. It's actually, it's like an endearing side. He sees Cloyce is sad, and he brings Cloyce upstairs. Then they wind up like Cloyce and Keith and Gary wind up drinking wine and smoking cigarettes and just like chatting into the night. And like it's a way for Cloyce to feel accepted and part of something. And you know, when you hear that he like had no friends in high school, I was like, oh, this is kind of sweet.
Yeah, it is sweet. So then, yeah, some male bonding, you know, they're making jokes about skid marks and stuff. It's boys. That's how it is. It's like The Notebook, but for boys. Let's talk about each other's poop stains. Best friends for life, eh?
Yeah. So now it's the next day. People are waking up. It's time for a preference sheet meeting. But before then, Emma is checking with Keith, and she's like, so have you got SPF on? He goes, always stay strapped. She goes, oh wait, sorry, it was Danny. And Danny's like, just sunscreen? And Keith is like, yeah, well, I'm not going to carry a weapon. And she goes, oh, I wasn't talking about weapons. And he goes, oh, I think mine might be a bit of overkill. And she goes, what are you packing that it's overkill? This was flirting, I guess.
Yeah, she's trying to flirt with him. She's like, what do you got? Sunscreen in your pocket? Are you happy to see me? He's like, sunscreen, actually. It's like not getting it all. So Glenn, it's a preference sheet meeting. So Glenn's like, welcome all lovely ladies for charter number 2. Amy, realtor from Texas, is coming to Ibiza along with her 2 daughters and a few close friends to celebrate her 60th birthday. I hope there's a sassy lady with short gray hair and diamond sunglasses on this one. Fingers crossed. She's my favorite lady, by the way. I love this fucking lady. Like, I literally want to make a painting of her and put her in my house. I love her.
She's great. She's great. She's got amazing breasts too. Good for her. So Chloe's like that.
Whoa.
Whoa. Where'd that come from?
Whoa. Was not expecting that.
Cloyce is like, he's excited because it's going to be a chill charter. One person's gluten-free. And Dave's like, day 1, the guests would like a Boho Island theme evening, complete with paella for dinner. Reading that back, that is so funny. I want a boho day with paella at the end of it.
Guys, let's have a boho day, you know? And boho, they don't use plates. It's just like one big bowl of stuff.
Let's dress up like Stevie Nicks and then have some nice yellow rice at the end of it.
Yeah. Day 2, the guests would like to soak up the sun floating lounge oasis. Ooh, it's very specific. It's a very specific toy. That can be done. We've actually got an inflatable netting where everyone can sit around like a large floating lounge oasis. We've something like that. Yeah, scary. Who asked that? I want to go float on a floating lounge oasis. Are they just running out of shit to do over there? I think Ibiza's like, you can't film here. And they're like, all right, well, what do we have? That floating lounge. Make it that they requested to float on a floating lounge.
I feel like the producers basically give guests a few options. Like, this is what you can do in your charter, or this is what you can do, which is what do you want to do? That's my theory. And Daisy says, and on night 2, the guests want to have an under the sea theme with a beef and reef dinner to celebrate a professional DJ to play after dinner. I'm like, I hate to break it to people, but beef is not found under the sea. That may be an issue for your under the sea theme dinner.
All right. It's going to be beef and reef. Now, I know that cows aren't really in the water, so we're going to make it drowning cows. Cows in the storm.
This is a cow there is a flood, and here's the cow. Unless it's going to be a manatee. Oh, let's serve the manatees. Cows of the sea.
And so Glenn's like, I just had an interesting idea about mermaids. Mermaids, get in the corner. Well, we're going to be going up by this really cool island, Esvedra. It's a mystical place. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. People get lost, but then they come out as mermaids. Have you heard of it? They're like, no. I'm actually fascinated by mermaid culture. That's like a real thing. Have you ever gotten into it, Ben?
I've not gotten into mermaid culture, but I'm aware of it. It's like, I know it's a big thing in Florida.
It's a huge thing all over. These ladies like travel all over and they buy those mermaid tails that like kids buy, that little kids were swimming in years ago. And now, they're Rockies. Yeah, thank you. That was an easier way to put it. And then they travel all over and they just like bond about, I don't know, being mermaids.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. This has nothing to do with mermaid culture, but if I were a charter guest and I found out they were sending this boat into Ibiza's version of the Bermuda Triangle, I would be like, get me off this boat. This boat can barely survive the non-Bermuda Triangle. I'm not sending it into some mystical place where it's going to crash into rocks. Absolutely not.
This place is the Bermuda Triangle. This boat is the Bermuda Triangle.
There's a floating Bermuda Triangle.
Literally. These people aren't even alive.
No, it's like
people who have all
like
disappeared.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Danny just died, right in the middle of flirting with someone. So it's like she's doomed for the rest of eternity to be a ghost on this fucking boat flirting with people.
That's God. A flirty ghost. How annoying. The worst kind of haunting.
Why won't anybody just touch me? You're a ghost. You can't even grab a knob.
They want to have this Glenn wants to do this like Bermuda Triangle thing, And Gary's like, "Oh, this is like the greatest thing ever. Glenn knows mayonnaise, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Yeah, well, we were in Ibiza, dude. I mean, so maybe we can hire a couple of mermaids to come on out."
Yeah, you know, mermaids, they lure sailors to their peril, kind of like this show does with young stews. Never really hear from them in the industry again, but
yeah, that's sort of what happens. And they were aliens involved. And the preacher's like, "Do you think? Are you like curious? Like, would you believe in this?" And he goes, "I don't know. It's just an island to me, but I think it's pretty cool." So he's delighted. Anyway, they're gonna like go scout some spots for this lounge thing. I think maybe that's later on.
so now Danny and Diana are just in their room talking, and Diana's like, "Oh my God, I was so scared you were going to be a bitch. I'm actually happy that none of us are bitches." And Danny's like, "I was also nervous. I was like, oh my God, please don't be somebody that's going to be like pretend like they know everything and be super but look at us. I mean, we're super like me. You know, I don't know what you're saying, but I'm assuming it's nice."
As soon as this little scene happened, I was like, okay, this officially ends the fun part of their friendship. It is now going to go downhill from here. That's why they're putting this in here.
Yes.
So literally the very next scene, Daisy's talking to them and she's like, "All right, girls, get in my corner. Who's done dinner service? You both have. Okay, who wants to do dinner service?" So Diana raises her hand because she wants to get better at service. So Danny's like, "Fuck, that means I have to do cabins. I mean, remember, I have to do cabins early too because if they stay up late,
I hate cabins. Ew. It's literal punishment. I don't ever want to be there. It's just so incredibly annoying. I mean, and Diana's like, "Well, Danny, sometimes she's a little bit of a vitimista, which in Portuguese, word for oh, poor me. Just get over it. Chill."
You know, there's bitching and complaining, and I'm not listening to it all season. You're always gonna be doing cabins. Like there's 3 of us, and I don't do them. So that leaves the 2 of you to do cabins. Get in the cabin corner.
So Danny's just whining and pouting and stuff. That's gonna be a problem. A Charter 2 and a Stu doesn't want to do cabins. What the fuck do you think you're here for, ma'am? Okay, you did not get a job to roller skate. Get your ass in there and do some fucking lawn. What do you think you're here for?
Yeah. So now it's time to practice on the tender because Gary's the only one who knows how to do it, and he is also the only one who has crashed it. So this way, there's more people to crash it, and he won't get as much of the blame. So he's doing little tender lessons and everything, and Emma is not very good at it. She like can't seem to get the gist, and they just wind up going in circle after circle after circle with Emma.
And then we learn from Emma, some of Emma's backstory. She's like, "You know, I do like to be good at things straight away. It's just sort of my thing. So prior to yachting, I was a personal trainer. So I worked for a gym, but then I was an EMT. And then I went into real estate on and off for 10 years. Then I tried to be a nanny with an umbrella, but I kept falling off buildings every time I tried to fly. That didn't really work out very well. I didn't really do that. But normally I'm very, very good at things, which is why I can't keep a job." It's really hilarious. I'm just so good, I have to move on to a different career immediately. Like, how are you saying you're good at everything when you've had 37 jobs? I don't think you're very good at things.
I love the photos that accompanied each job. You know, when she was a personal trainer, she was at the gym. She's like, "Yeah." And then she's EMT. She's in an ambulance. Like, "Yeah." And then she goes, "And then I went to real estate." And they just show her in like a black cocktail dress holding a martini. I don't know why that was so funny to be like, "Here I am in real estate."
Having cocktails at a bar talking about real estate things really is quite glamorous, isn't it? Honestly, I'm just hoping I win the lottery and then I can get a home with just a farm, cats and dogs everywhere. Maybe a cat rescue center. That would be lovely. That would be ideal, wouldn't it?
This is my photo application for the Oppenheimer group, the O group. Fortunately, they didn't want me on Selling Sunset, partially because I lived in rural England.
Well, I think that's so cute. I love that she's going to have a rescue center. My aunt Josie, my bullish lesbian aunt in El Paso, has a bird rescue center, and that's her life. She just loves rescuing birds, and she was even taking care of a grackle. You know, those birds are evil. Yeah. I was like, "Why are you saving the grackle? Let some of them die." You know, she's like, "You don't get to pick and choose who you save. This isn't that kind of life." I was like, "Okay." She loved that little grackle. I knew she was going to love that goddamn grackle. She was so sad to let it go.
Did she rescue the grackle, or did the grackle rescue her?
Right, guys? And then they both went off together and murdered weaker birds just for being weaker. It's like, wow, she really changed. That Crackle really changed her.
The Crackle went up to Cloyce and said, "You're an asshole."
The little hummingbird was like, "You're carrying your books funny. Hey, shut up."
The hummingbird is passing lots of judgments.
All right, everybody, be in the cockpit in 15 minutes. Okay, so the guests are getting picked up, and then Daisy asks Diana to go and stow, so she does, and they can't because everything's opening and closing and stuff.
Nothing works. The bolt is in, but it's like not going all the way in. And so, by the way, Ronnie is reenacting below deck sailing with his camera right. If you ever want if you ever want to see an episode of Below Deck Sailing, just look at Ronnie's camera as it flops off of it. Ronnie's camera is attached via suction cup onto his screen, and occasionally it is suction cupped, right?
Yes. Okay. I know a lot of people only listen to Below Deck recaps from us and stuff, and this is our first one of the season. So if you guys don't know, I'm doing construction. I'm in a newish place. It was not new. It's old. That's why it needs so much construction, and it's getting totally. That's why you hear people walking and talking in Spanish and hammering and sawing. And I'm trying to keep it to a minimum press mute, but that's why you hear it. And also I'm on this kind of temporary computer screen, and I have to suction the giant camera to the screen to get like a decent angle on this gorgeous face. And it just falls 5 times a day. So I'm sorry.
And every times it falls. But that fall, this most recent one, was like the most below deck fall because it had like normally just falls forward and the screen goes crazy. But this time the screen actually rotated. And I was like, wow, it is like we are on the Parsifal too.
That's funny. It was also right after we said that. That's funny.
Yeah.
And we start sailing and it fell right off. Okay.
Yeah, so they're trying to stow. They're stowing, but as a plot point, Diana is putting that bolt in, but the bolt won't go all the way down. So like the stowing systems are not working because it's Parsifal too. Why would anything work on this boat?
Exactly. And there's no deadbolt or anything. So now glasses and liquor bottles are shattering. And Diana's like, "Oh, I don't want to see. I closed it. She's like, "Ah, God, none of the covers work. God damn it." And she's like, "It's a sailing yacht. Fix the fucking covers." Thank you, Diana.
Everything goes crazy. Like, well, first of all, we get our standard, drawer under the bed that pops open. They love showing that. That like indicates we have begun sailing. And like we always get like a few things that like rattle around and things in the galley slide. But in this case, it was like everything out of the bar area just tumbled right on out and broke. Like broken glass, booze everywhere. It is a fucking disaster.
Yeah, and a complete fucking shit show. The guests cannot see this. And Diana's like, "I'm getting drunk by just the smell of it." And Keith is talking to Cloyce about dinner, and they're going to do their boho chic party, blah, 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 party. And then Cloyce talks about paella. It's like quintessential España, guys, okay? So hopefully he'll get a big tip, because someone's got to pay the fucking bills around here. He's still mad about having to pay for some wine last night.
So, meanwhile, Keith has this insight. He's like, obviously, I'm into Danny, but Danny is definitely a person who flirts a lot, and not just with me. She just likes, just to fish with her net and just has no shame whatsoever. But I definitely feel shame. Shame hurts. Shame is real. Another
That's a man for me. That's a man for me. A man who understands that shame is real and is ready to wallow in it by getting with a partner who will constantly make him feel it. God, I found a fellow traveler, Keith. Hugs.
Yeah, hugs. So now the next big drama, which is that we're heading into dinner time, and Daisy turns to Danny and is like, "You can start setting for dinner." And Danny's like, "Okay, well, I'm about to boho this bitch so fucking hard, man." And Daisy's like, "Yeah, well, just use like sheets or something, And Danny's like, "Well, but I don't want it to look tacky." He goes, "No, tacky is good." She goes, "Yeah, you love tacky. Oh, the tackier, the better." She goes, "Yeah, but the table's going to be like pretty intense." And I love finding shit that's on the boat that's like bohemian. That's it. I don't want to make it tacky.
She's like, I'm so artsy. I mean, it made my family crazy because my sister and brother are quite academic, but me, just art all the time. And he's like, what the fuck are you going to do with art when you're older? So I really take pride in my tables because I'm an artist. It's like, oh no, an artist table setter. God help us.
I know.
Because, you know, that can be an art. There are people who actually do this for an art. You are not one of them, ma'am. Okay. And now watch her start to spin out of fucking
She's like,
control.
I did art in high school, and therefore that has translated me doing artistic tables on yachts. So now Danny is trying to do this, and she's really like, she's not happy. But meanwhile, while this is going on, Emma is just sitting on the swim platform smoking a ciggy. And we cut back to her a few times, so we know something's wrong, and we know that she's not attending to something. And then suddenly the tender is banging on the boat behind her, like boom, 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 boom. And so now all of a sudden Gary's like, whoa, blah, blah, blah. Emma, how did you tie the boat? She goes, oh shit, the tender slipped away. Oh well, I guess another job I failed at. Apologies. One more day behind my goal of becoming a cat rescue.
As you get to the ripe old age of 30-something, you realize sometimes things just slip away and you learn to accept it. Bye, tender. Goodbye. You've been lovely. Love you. No, we need the tender. Oh, all right. Well, I thought I did it properly. And then one of the guests is like, are you guys losing the boat? Fucking idiots.
So yeah, Gary is not happy. But then Danny, meanwhile, is also unhappy because she's trying to do this tablescape. And she's like, I'm just so sad about the techie. And Dan is like, I don't understand why she said that's wrong. She's because we're making it too pretty. And I'm like, I'll do it, but but it's still my career. I'm like, you are not. What?
This girl's fucking crazy.
Yes, it is your career, but like we do not have like recruiters here on this boat. People are not watching Below Deck Sailing, and I'm thinking, that girl, get her on my boat. I love the way she did that tablescape.
Yeah. And Daisy comes up to check, and she's like, how are we doing, girls? And she's like, oh, I'm just telling her how I'm just so nervous. I'm an artist, and you said and I don't want my name to be in Techie. It's just horrible. I'm an artist.
Okay, you have to stop. Okay, you have to stop right now.
I'm excited about it.
You have to stop. It's too early. It's too early in the season to start freaking out about it. She's saying that she's passionate about it. She's like, I'm being told to do something that's just not my work. Okay, stop. Okay, I will never, ever let you look bad, okay? You're going to look bad on your own because you're on Below Deck, but I'm not going to let you look bad with a table skip. So stop. You're doing amazing. I will make sure you look great. And then Daniel's like, yeah, it's just like something looks tacky because I'm told to make it like tacky. And then they see, oh shit, tables. Just like frustrating when you're like passionate about something.
I'm so passionate about tables.
And I love Daisy clarifies here. She goes, no, okay, let's pretend I didn't say anything. Let's pretend that was nothing. It was the wrong word. Okay, just think of American 4th of July. And they just go all out. That's all I meant. When I said tacky, I just meant American 4th of July. That's all. American. Just think American. I didn't mean tacky, just American.
Not helping me. All right, look at me in the eye, girl. All right, the one that's wide open, not the one that's half wonked. All right, look here. Listen, Gary can't even keep his armpit hairs trimmed. You think that guy's got an art in his system? He's still got a job. Stop your crying and get to work, corner girl.
Have you ever seen the Florida Project? Just make the table look like that. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I guess I understand now. You're going to be great. And then Daisy to us is like, what the fuck? Like, it's a good thing that she cares, but it also tells me that she's hypersensitive and I'm going to have to watch my words. God.
I used the word tacky, but I meant over the top. American, graceless, unsubtle, lacking nuance. Again, American. That's all.
Commercials. Here comes one right now.
So then, let's see what's next. So Daisy is now talking to Cloyce about doing dessert, and they're doing their flirting that they do. She's like, "How are you serving dessert?" He's like, "Carefully and warm." She's like, individual bread and butter puddings. Fucking kid, rude this kid's life. Can't wait.
So they're serving, and there's all this stuff that's happening, and so like it's going to need once it's ready, like when it's time for dessert, it needs 8 minutes of lead time because he has to put it in the oven to heat it up. And so Daisy's saying, well, it's gonna take us a minute to clear. And then so Daisy recruits Emma to help clear the table.
Okay. Well, this is a big plot point.
Yes.
He says it's gonna take 8 minutes. And she says, okay, we're clearing, and it's gonna take us a minute to clear. Put them in. Do you think it's going to take them 15 minutes to clear? No, it's going to take 2 minutes for them to clear. Okay.
So they are clearing, and Daisy tells Emma, "You can tell the chef that he can start plating dessert." And Emma's like, "Well, he needs to cook for 8 minutes." And Daisy's like, "What?" Which, by the way, at this point, I'm like, that's really not like. I think waiting 8 minutes after your entree is cleared for dessert is not like the end of the world. I think 8 minutes is an acceptable gap. Maybe don't push it,
Well, I think it ends up taking longer, right? So
right, that's what I'm saying. At this point, I'm like, it's not a big deal. It's 8 minutes.
Yeah. So Emma's like, Cloyce, would you please put the dessert in the oven? Daisy said ASAP. Isn't that funny to see a Fables? It's the man who wrote Fables quickly. You ever wondered to yourself? He's like, okay, they're going in. She's like, wait a minute, how many minutes is that going to take? He's like, we cleared. I thought Emma came down to tell you. And she's like, I did. And he's like, well, cleared is not just like, clear is like, we're clear to go. That's what I mean.
Well, then that's also a reason why it doesn't matter. Either way, if you interpret it as we're clear to go, that means you should also get your things in the oven. That does not help your argument whatsoever.
But didn't she tell him we're clearing now and it'll take 8 minutes?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm looking back at my notes, but she did tell him, and he's like, well, why are deckhands trying to tell me? She should have called me and said.
But I also
she did tell you.
But also, like, Emma told him what I don't understand is Emma told him while they were clearing, and he put them in the oven. So I don't understand what the issue is. They were in the oven. They were going. Like, what? I don't understand where the delay happened with all this. I don't know why it ultimately wound up taking like 25 to 30 minutes.
So now Daisy, who just bitched out Gary, is now bitching to Gary about someone else that she's about to bitch out. So she's like, me and the chef are going to fight. He's like, no ways in all your corner then.
Where do you think all these giant plates came from? And big communication works both ways. You have a radio, ask me. And Emma's like, by the way, Daisy, I definitely did tell him. I used to work in real estate. I understand these things. And the Glenn's like, so by the way, everyone, like the way the food came out, that was okay. You bring out a little bit and you bring out a little bit of this, fine. She's, yeah, but it wasn't like the first day, but it'll be fine. He's like, well, okay, we'll keep an eye on it. And let me know if you see anything else.
So Gary's like, you're already having boxing matches with the chef then, Daisy. You're already going to have boxing. And she's like, he's like, if you cleared. And I was like, what the fuck? I told you I cleared. Why didn't you say I cleared? I told you. Well, I'm on you. And she's like, I'm on his side. I'm in his corner. All right, don't fucking start throwing me under the bus, because that was the second service he's tried to throw me under the bus. And you know how I feel about buses. I am a bus. I'll roll your ass over. I have 6 wheels on me. Is that how many wheels buses have? I don't even know, but you're about to find out. There's going to be tread marks all over your goddamn forehead.
I'm a bus bitch. So Diana is like, Danny is now has further insights about how she feels about Keith. She's like, I keep trying to pursue it with Keith because whenever we have like a smidgen of a good moment, it's like really exciting. I don't know. He's just like so attractive in that very, very generic, forgettable way. And he doesn't spill his secrets like I do. He's just like really fucking hot. I'm like, okay, girl, someone get this girl a vibrator. She is way too
Have you
horny.
ever wanted to stick your wiener into a pudding? That's how Keith is. Keith is like a bowl of pudding,
He is
I'm sure it's good. I don't doubt that it's good, but like, do I want to fuck it? But I would.
He's like he's like the yachty version of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but at normal size, right? Like he sort of has that sort of like nice there's something sort of like love, like cute, but sort of
It's like a dad. He's like a soccer
yeah,
dad.
like
I feel like he's at soccer, and he's not one of the dads yelling at
bland,
people.
very white.
He's just like the one who, when other dads yell at people, he's like, "Oh no, that guy must be having a really rough day." You know, he's just that dad.
Yeah, he's just like very white and very sort of just like sort of featureless. Like I think of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man because it's just like there's not. It's like featureless. It's just like it's like a big generic figure coming at you. You know, does that make sense?
So Gary's like, all right. So Clois, if you could have one girl on the boat, who would it be? They're in bed now, and Clois is like, there's something interesting about Daisy. Quite honestly, I mean, she reminds me of getting bullied in school, but it kind of turns me on. That makes any sense? Like, I definitely feel like she would call me an asshole. Oh, she's already calling you an asshole. This way, give it about 5 minutes. She'll be in here to sing you to sleep with the song about being an asshole. Right?
Well, I've never met anyone in my life like Clois, a 22-year-old that wears cufflinks and combs his hair 3 times a day, or just even combs his hair at all. I've never met anyone like that. Look at me and Colin. She would walk all over him. Blah, 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 blah.
Are you still doing the floaty stuff? She's like, yeah, it's pretty much done. Dun, dun, dun. So then Clois is talking to Daisy about how he would really enjoy going on this floating thing with the guests or whatever. And she's like, well, how are you going to do lunch if you're there? God damn it. Well, how are you going to catch a floating cow? You know, those cows are drowning. They could use some help. Maybe it could help them. And he's like, well, the salad's prepped, so I'm just going to throw the chicken and salmon in the oven and, you know, there's a light lunch. Dun, dun, dun.
So Gary's like,
All right, we should get into our swims, but where are the other things? Blah, blah.
and Emma's like, well, I wanted to pilot all here, so it's not in the way. And he goes,
Oh, no, it needs to be out anyway.
and now Gary is getting very annoyed because he'd asked her to blow up and tie up all these things. And he's like,
Oh, Emma, quick thing. If I ask you to do something, please do it.
and she's like, oh, what do you mean? And she goes,
Well, I take these things out, so see, now we are fucking around doing this shit. Blah, blah.
It's like, I don't think Emma's taking this seriously at all. I specifically asked her to inflate things, and she inflate them and tie them together. It's not even 50% done. How can I not be annoyed by this? And so she's like, oh, well, I don't know the easiest way to bring them on. He's like, bring them forward and on like I asked you to do. And she's like, well, I thought I was doing the right thing, but the way he's snapping at me, I don't think it's necessarily fair. I think I'll remember that for next time. Dun, dun, dun. It sounds like a threat.
yeah.
Which I liked. I was like, yes, Emma, murder Gary. I'm in it. I'm here for Emma turning totally crazy with her cat rescue and just murdering Gary.
She's like, oh, but it's too much work and effort. How about I just stare at him and hope he just dies on his own? That'll be more.
I thought I'd be really good at murder, but I never really got around to trying it. So I went into corporate taxes.
They just showed the same photo of her with a martini and a cocktail dress. Me and corporate taxes. So Clois is like, by the way, hey, deck team, if you guys need a hand, I feel like there's not much I can be doing in the kitchen, so I can help out. So they're like, okay. So Clois is like, yeah, what a fucking sexy day. It's nice to get some sunlight. Whoa. So
What could go wrong?
Yeah, he basically hops on the tender and heads over to the beach setup.
A large boat passes and goes, you're an asshole. Spoke too soon.
He's like, I am not only stoked to be able to offer my assistance to the deck team, but after quite a few days working hard, getting some of that fresh Spanish sunshine is quite lovely. By the way, this is somewhere in here we missed the moment where the guests were looking at the Spanish flag. They've been in Spain because they flew to Ibiza. They've been in Spain and they're looking at it and they're like, wow, that flag looks like a pirate flag. Yeah, it's like such a pirate flag. Like, hey, is it possibly the Spanish flag? No, I don't think so. I'm going to look it up. Hey, it's the Spanish flag.
Oh, it is from Spanish. Wow. Nailed it. So, meanwhile, Daisy's assigning Danny to go do cabins and the table and vacuum the main suite, etc. Worky. And then Gary's like, oh, chef, I think I need to take you back, eh? And he's like, not necessarily. He goes, don't you need to prep for dinner? He's like, nope, I'm good. He's like, well, I mean, it is the chef. It's your department, but I think he's meant to be prepping. He's like, well, you going to make French fries and chicken nuggets? It sounds like my wedding dinner.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. I'm like agreeing with Senior, talking as if I'm talking to Gary. I'm talking to your impersonation of Gary. I'm like, yeah, Gary, that's totally right. But yeah, what? I mean, like, sure, he's got lunch all set up, but isn't there stuff you've got to make for dinner? Like, there's like things, there's desserts and activities, and also you were going to throw salmon and chicken into the oven. That's going to take some time. You should get back to the boat, sir.
But didn't he say he's going to do? Did he leave them in the oven while he was gone?
No, he's been gone for hours.
Oh gosh. So then Glenn calls. He's like, what I'm worried about is that we're pressed for time. So the guests eat at 4 and we're still leaving at 5. And Keith's like, leaving at 5. Got you. So now he radios Gary to swap out. And Cloyce is now serving wine to the guests. And Diane is like, oh, bro, I'm like trying to do my job. And you're like actually going to steal my job. It's his job to be in the galley. Just annoying.
So Glenn's walking through the galley and he's like, I don't see much prepping here. And then he's like walking around. He's like, Cloyce. And then Garrett is like, does anyone see where Cloyce is? And Garrett's like, blah, blah. He's been with us ever since we set up. And he's like, what? And he's like, Chef's got to get back to prep.
And then he freaks out. Dun, dun, dun. Like, bring him back now. He's not here to have fun. He's here to serve at 4. Get him back here now. And he is not happy.
And then we see like footage of Cloyce. Cloyce is like Gary. It's like Keith and Cloyce, and like one of the ladies are all like the three of them are on like one sea bob going to the water, and Cloyce is like, ha. I was like,
I had the time of my life.
And then the lady turns to Cloyce and goes, you're an asshole.
And that brings us to the end of Below Deck Sailing, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. If you want the first 2 episodes, head over to Patreon and check them out. We will be back next week with more Below Deck. And of course, 9 million Housewives shows that are on now every day, pretty much for the rest of the time. And we love it. So come and join us over there and over at Patreon for some bonuses. And we will talk to you all next time. Okay. Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
We're fanning out for Bethany Fannin.
Put your hands together for Carly Clapp.
Dana C, Dana Do.
Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. Jamie, she has no last namey.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know Your Worth with Jason Kurth.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
Kristen the Piston Anderson.
Rigging the funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino.
Let's get feely with Maggie Sheely.
Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
Cast a Spell with Shannon Spellman.
The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall. We got our wish, it's Jen Plish.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender. The incredible edible Matthews sisters.
Give him hell, Miss Noel.
Ring that bell for Rachel.
She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke.
Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.